What's really important is to get to know each kid as best as we can, each student as best as a person, as a human being.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Math Therapy, coming to you straight from Fort Worth, Texas, where I'm speaking at the CAMT Math Education Conference. My friend Dr. Cathy Marks Krpan and I have actually snuck into an empty conference room between sessions. There is a very loud presentation happening next door, and I am just praying this mic does not pick it up, otherwise David is going to kill me. Now, why have we decided to record this completely impromptu episode? Well, Cathy and I have this very weird thing going on. See, we're both from Toronto, but we basically never see each other there. In fact, we've only ever been together in person twice, and both times have been in airports. The first time was in Texas after this very conference last year. The second time was in the Toronto airport on our way here just a few days ago. The weird part is that both times we've traveled together, something completely ridiculous has happened. Last year was literal chaos. You know the airport little buses, like the buggies that they drive around? We convinced two guys to drive us to our gate on it, and we made it to our flight with 30 seconds to spare. Now this year, somehow, basically the same thing. Mechanical issue after mechanical issue, sitting on the tarmac forever. Just one of those travel days where you're convinced you're never actually getting where you're supposed to go. And both times, we've found ourselves texting each other from different rows on the plane saying, this is exactly like math education. This is exactly like teaching math. Which got me wondering, I wonder if Cathy means the same thing by that as I do. So we thought, why not sneak into a conference room between sessions and find out live on the pod? Now, if you don't already know Cathy, you are in for such a treat because Dr. Cathy Marks Krpan is a former classroom teacher, now a professor at OISE, which is the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education at the University of Toronto, and she teaches graduate courses in math education. She works with teachers in school districts across North America and around the world, helping them create richer, more meaningful mathematical learning experiences. She is the real deal, guys. Honestly, she is one of the coolest people I know. She reminds me so much of my own high school math teacher. She has this spark, this energy, this passion for helping every student believe they can think mathematically. She's thoughtful, she's funny, she's brilliant, and every conversation with her leaves me seeing things a little differently. If you're looking for a little spark this summer, a little reminder of why you fell in love with teaching in the first place, or if you've ever wondered how an airport disaster could possibly have anything to do with teaching math, this episode is for you. So without further ado, here is my friend, my fellow Canadian, and one of the coolest women I know, Dr. Cathy Marks Krpan. Here's why we're telling you about this, not just that we want you to be in awe of our reality show that we should have, but because the entire time, Cathy and I were like, this is basically a metaphor for teaching math.
It is.
Tell me what you were thinking.
I was thinking of several layers to this.
Let's go.
One is they get on the announcement and said, something to do with the engine. It was wah, 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 engine, wah, 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 30 minutes. And I wonder how many kids sit in math class while we say something that we understand as educators, that this is clear, it's very easy, and the kids are hearing wah, 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 wah. And that can lead to a lot of different things. And then the other piece is the whole unknown, right? Sitting on that plane, not knowing if we're going to be taking off or not. And that unknown piece, and sitting and feeling a little stressed about that. We were a little stressed about it.
Sure, you're mentally going through all the options of what could happen.
And we're grown adults that can that we have, at least we can reason, we can think clearly about, okay, these are our options. But a lot of times kids in the classroom don't always have those kinds of thinking skill sets readily available to them.
They're just panicking in the moment.
Right, yeah. And we think, from my perspective, or anyone else in the classroom, sometimes when we're teaching, we think, this is pretty straightforward, this is really easy. But sitting with the unknown, right? Being comfortable with the unknown, whether you're an adult or a student in the classroom, whether it's math or anything else, that can be very stressful.
Now, you're talking about the student perspective.
Correct.
Right? So let's go back to the womp, womp, womp engine. Because you were texting me being like, they are not asking us what we're thinking.
That's
They're not right.
it.
So tell me more about that moment of so a kid is sitting in class, let's say, and they're just hearing you blabber some stuff and blah, womp, womp, womp fractions, womp, womp, womp a quarter. What would you prefer? Let's imagine now, go back to us on the plane. What should have happened there that would have helped us?
First of all, I think there should have been, does anyone have any questions? And I know people don't do that.
That's such a good idea.
They don't do that on airlines because they don't want our questions.
But teachers, I think, also
we would have damn fine questions to ask. Like, do I get a reimbursement?
Or like, tell us exactly what's wrong with the engine.
And I was thinking, rightly so, there's going to be a high demand on the food. But by the time it came to my seat, there was hardly anything left, which is a whole other thing. But yes.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I love that you needed to get that out there.
No, it was
Air Canada, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
They always listen to me.
Okay, so what if they had asked, okay, tell me if they...
So what do you think? How are you feeling? Is there anything... they did come with water, which was nice, but just there's not enough information to calm me down on an airplane. And I just think in teaching that parallels very nicely, because I'm sure there are kids, even though we are very explicit sometimes in what we do and we ask, are there any questions? A lot of kids aren't going to ask the questions because they feel that they're going to be singled out and they don't want to do that. But even just having them write something down and just say, what are you thinking at this moment? Write it down, give them cue cards out. Let me see what's going on.
Well, this is also making me think of like, they're giving us on the plane, like just kind of a surface level explanation, right? They're like, they kept saying, like after the engine thing, they kept saying technical difficulties. Yeah. We didn't know what like, is the air conditioner broken? Is it the like lighting? Is it the actual?
Is the wing falling off the plane? Like, we don't know.
We don't know.
I am not I'm a calm flyer pretty much, but when these things start happening, things start racing through my brain.
Right.
And I start thinking about, what if this happens? What if this happens? And I'm just thinking about kids in the classroom with math. Like, oh my gosh, what if I have to share? What if I have to do this? And I don't know what's going to happen next. Sometimes I think we don't take that into consideration enough. I think because the person doing the wah engine, wah wing falling off, they have an insight of what is happening, and it's calm for them.
Well, you know what this reminds me of? To me, okay, sorry, this is going to be such a niche topic for the high school teachers. I fucking hate how we teach SOHCAHTOA before we actually teach the sine, cos, and tan function. So kids are just like, they're like, what? And you're like, don't worry, just type in sine 60. Just press the sine button on your calculator. It's all going to be fine. They don't know that sine is actually a function. It's like, they have no clue. And we're just like, want, SOHCAHTOA, want, sine, cos, tan. And I think so first of all, I'm using that because that example really pisses me off. But we do it with a lot of things. Keep, change, flip. Just flip, right? Just flip and multiply when you're dividing the fractions. It's going to work.
Don't ask why.
Don't ask why, right? We don't want to hear your questions. Here's a sip of water, end of story. We don't even do that part. But you know what I mean? So
it's keep in your seat and put your seatbelts on.
It's true.
Yeah, and why are we doing this?
And so we're thinking, like, kids are often thinking to themselves, number one, why? But I also like what you said of what's going to happen next. Like, I'd like to know what I'm going to have to do next. Do I have to produce an answer? Do I have to share it with the class? Like, I think there's a lot of classroom practices that kids are scared are going to happen.
Yeah. And I think we underestimate that sometimes. Like, I just think, again, we're adults in a plane, right? We sort of have a broader view of what's happening and what could happen, and yet we still get anxious about it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that just made me think, like, about kids and learning. And we thought the plane is the classroom. Right. We're the students.
We're the students.
And
the people in charge are just like...
And the pilot could be like the director of education, and then the flight attendants, the teachers perhaps.
Or like the teacher's assistants, maybe.
Maybe. So who's the teacher then?
Well, they're also the teachers.
Okay.
We're not sure. They're the teachers. I think because the people giving us the information are the teachers, it kind of feels like the pilot... You're right. I like that. They're the leader, and then the teachers are just doing the flight attendants are doing as they're told.
Yeah, and I was so curious. Like, you could see, it was really fascinating because the captain's cabin was
the
open.
cockpit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You say potato, I say potato. But yeah, I think that's a better word for it. And I just was fascinated with, and you just wondered, like, what's going on in there? Like, what is happening?
Right.
Like, there's lights flashing. Should we be concerned that light's flashing from where I am?
Can I ask you a question?
You sure can.
Are you nervous that something bad is going to happen to the plane, or are you nervous that your plan is going to be derailed?
No, I'm nervous that I'm going to that something's going to happen to the plane. I'm going to die. That's basically it. I love flying. I'm very calm. I love it. But when something happens that's not normal, my mind starts racing about what that could be. Yeah. Like, I remember as a kid, if I was on a plane, again, and I was telling my dad, oh my God, what's this? I get bump, 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 bump. Oh, don't worry about it. It's called turbulence. It's like going over bumps when you're in a car. And I remember as a kid thinking, hell no, it's not like that. Like, we're 30,000 feet above the air.
So this also makes me think too, like, especially looking at that childhood mind of like something we think is like a rational thing to say, like, oh, don't worry about it. It just works out. You just keep, change, flip, and it's going to work out. You just do this.
Gotta trust.
You gotta trust. Kids are not feeling that vibe.
No.
And they are probably thinking something they can't articulate, like, that's not good enough for me, or why should I trust it? And I think once they don't trust something and they don't, because here's the other thing, we keep telling everyone, we are born as natural problem solvers. Kids inherently love to do math before it gets like scared out of them. They like to solve problems. They like to understand. We like understanding. So when we do that to a kid or an adult, when we just shut that down by saying, just don't worry, just believe me and just stay chill and do what I say, that actually, I think, kills the curiosity they innately have.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And we're not equipping them with skill sets and the ability to sort of navigate and sit comfortable with the unknown, which is important too.
But do you think we do that? Like, do you think in the plane situation, they're doing that because they don't understand? Like, you know how sometimes teachers do that because they're like, don't ask me questions because I actually don't know?
That's possible. And it's just to keep everyone calm, like me.
Right.
On the plane. And I just want to say for the record, I don't mind flying.
Yeah, we know.
But
you've said it.
But I'm just...
You know, it's funny you say this because I don't know you that well, and most of our interactions have been on these 2 flights. Okay? But what I will say is this. So you took the analogy in this way. The way I was thinking about it is I was like, to me, it feels like something on the teacher end. Like, we are so uncomfortable with uncertainty on that plane. Like, you're like, I need to know what's going to happen. You're kind of thinking the worst is going to happen. To me, it kind of reminded me of when like a lesson gets derailed.
Right. Absolutely. It's that whole piece and the expectation that everyone's treated the same. Everybody has to sit in their seats. Everybody blah, blah, blah. And just... But don't interfere.
But what's interesting to me is in both of these circumstances, things have worked out for the best. And we've had a great story to tell. And it's like we've gotten to where everything's fine, but you still, in both situations, so quickly started thinking the worst.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just saying, I like to know. The more information I have, the less stressed I become.
So
that's it. Like,
yeah. If they had said, we're having technical difficulties, the air conditioning isn't working, and we just want to make sure you don't have a hot flight, wouldn't you have felt so much better?
Yes.
Because you're like, oh.
If you trust the person saying that, is it a cover-up for something bigger? We don't know, right?
Yeah, so it sounds like you're a very suspicious person.
Well, I'm even as a kid going on, we have this exhibition. It's called the Canadian National Exhibition. They have all sorts of rides. It's an amazing place, and I still go every year. But as a kid, I would not go on any rides. And it was great for my parents because nobody would have to go on with me. And the reason was because I thought, I'm not getting up in that contraption. Anything can happen. And that person there is going to be in charge of my life. That's how I thought it at like 10, 11 years old. So, yeah, I guess... That all comes back.
It does all come back, but I think what you said is
this is a therapy session.
I ran because I'm like, now this is actually about trusting the person in the front of the room.
Well, and trusting the person, yes. Trusting the person in the front of the room. And how do you develop that trust? It's not just, it's a journey to develop that
But
trust.
How do you do that with students?
You do that with students with getting to know who they are. But not only getting to know who they are, but ensuring that they know that you are making the effort to get to know who they are.
Give me like 2 things you do, or one thing, your favorite thing.
I would sit down, the kids in my class, they were grade 8, and they had really challenging home lives, like to the point where I could not survive what some of them experienced. Like I just, it was amazing. When they showed up, it was a celebration in my heart. At the beginning of the year and throughout the year, I would have a one-on-one interview with each student and say, here are some of the things that I'm observing about you, that I'm getting to know about you, that I really like. And I just want to tell you the things that I just really admire about you. Full stop. That was it every time. And it made a difference. Some of the kids came up to me and said, it's the first time anyone has ever told me anything.
Oh my God.
That they like about me. It's the first time, not just even teachers, but anybody. And so just.
How old are these kids?
Grade 8. So.
Like middle school vibes.
Yeah, middle school. Yeah. And it made a difference. But it wasn't just, it was for me to get to know them and to understand them as much as possible and to create a relationship, because nothing was going to happen in that classroom without a relationship of some sort.
And what I'm hearing you say, which is really interesting, is often I think when we think about getting to know our kids, I'm not saying this is wrong, but we think, oh, we need to know like what their hobbies are and what TV shows they watch. But I think that's one way of getting to know them. But what I'm hearing you say is simply observing and being able to point out what you understand about their character.
Yeah.
Like things that they might not see in themselves. Like you're a really funny person or you're, you know what I mean?
Yes. Like all of that. And it's going to be different for each kid. And then I'm not just saying, oh, everybody's so great. I really love you. I love the way you're engaging. I love all this stuff.
Well, hold on. Yeah. Tell me what's wrong with that or what you don't love about that
I feel it's superficial.
Too general.
I feel it's the want. And I think what's really important is to get to know each kid as best as we can, each student as best as a person, as a human being.
So
that takes work. That takes work.
Well, right? And I'm sure there's teachers listening who are like, I would love to, but like I've got like 4 classes of 30 kids. How do I do that?
So you don't have to get to everybody every day. So I might do 2 kids a day. 2 kids a day, just sit down and just have that one-on-one. Or sometimes what I would do is say, does anyone want to chat? And they knew what that meant. They knew what that meant. And they could come up and say, yeah, let's chat. So it doesn't take much. And I know we always encourage when they're at work and when they're doing things, but to me, that connection of talking to them and them talking to me and said, what are some things that, you're concerned about in the class or anything like that? And let's have a conversation that way. So they get to know. So there was one student. And the other thing I always do, they didn't have to stay in their desks because it just didn't work. It didn't work with this class to stay in their desks. It wasn't their way. So I would just say, huddle up. So they would come when I would teach math, they would come. Some would be on the floor, some would be on desks, some would be on chairs they'd bring up, but we'd just be in a really nice, intimate community, like just close together. And that's so much nicer than like, hello, back there. And it was great for class management too, right? But
well, so going back to that idea of connection, because even what you're saying about the huddling, that also has to do with connection. It has to do with everybody sort of like being together. It kind of gets rid of the like the hierarchy of like, you're at the back, you're at the front.
Yeah.
I know this might seem really obvious, but I think there are a lot of folks, and I completely understand why. I think at a certain point I wasn't able to explain, and I would love to hear from you why you think this is important. Because I know that there is this idea of we don't have time for connection. We've got to teach content. Tell us why it actually, like you said, nothing would have happened in this class without me getting to know my students. Tell me how it worked. Like, why did it make that difference?
Because it built that trust and it brought down some walls that these kids had up. I mean, they were tough kids. They were, I learned so much from them, right? I remember, and I remember at the time, I would call home as well. And they were, Miss M. I said, yeah, put your mom or whoever's on your guardian, whoever, your caretaker. And I would say something positive to that person about that child, that student, that whatever. And it takes time, but I'm not there just to teach the content. And I believed in that. And so I took the time, and it took a lot of time. Yeah, it did. But it built relationships, and those kids felt seen. They felt respected. Did we still have classroom management issues? Yes. But it happened through humanity. It was just a connection. So-and-so, sorry, miss, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so funny. We like literally an hour ago, I was like, you know what, Cathy, you remind me of my high school math teacher. And that was what she would do. She always made a point to call home to say something nice.
Yeah.
I remember my parents, the first time it happened, it was the first time a teacher had ever said anything nice about me to them. Before it was all, the only reason to call home is if there's a problem.
Yeah.
And it really changes the dynamic because not only like, does it build trust with the parents who often are like, what is happening in this classroom? But the student is like, oh my God, this teacher is on my side, right? She's not just there to like berate me or to make me feel bad or whatever. Like she's got my back. She wants me to feel good.
We're there to teach kids. And I just love, and even with my grad students, even with my pre-service students, I love getting to know who they are beyond just the classroom. I think that's just important. That's about being human. That's about building these relationships. And I know we're busy, but I think it makes a lot of difference for these kids. The content will get taught, but I think the relationships and trust, I think that goes a long way. I really do.
Well, and I always say it's like, yes, it takes time, but it also takes time to have to reteach something over and over again because no one's paying attention. And when people feel seen, they're more likely to pay attention, right? They're more likely to take that risk to try because there is that trust. And I think in the end, you save time.
Absolutely.
I really do think in the end you save time. If you look at the year as a whole, maybe it's like you're front loading the time because you've got to get to know them. You got to make the phone calls. You got to do the interviews, but they're going to be more engaged, which means you're going to save time.
It was and it was a fascinating year because the other thing that I've never shared all these stories, but the other thing, see that you get an exclusive. The other thing I would do, just because I just enjoyed it, I would stay in my class. Okay, two things. Number one, I didn't have a teacher's desk. It was out of the classroom.
Very Peter Liljedahl of you.
I feel that the teacher's desk is always placed at a location that is prime real estate in the classroom. It's by the window. It's by somewhere. I want my kids to have that real estate. I don't want it. So I took that out and I just had bins, which was great.
Bins for what? To sit on?
Bins. No. Bins to put my stuff in.
Oh, okay.
And my students didn't use the desk. You know when they put shit in the desks? And
they
have to clean out their desk? Boom. So I had bins. Their math book were in the bins.
What grade are you talking about? Still middle school?
It could be middle school. So I had 7-1, 7-2, 8-1, 8-2. But even when I taught grade 4, grade 5, grade 3, everything was in the bins. Okay. So if I wanted their language arts notebook, it was there. But it was just over lunch. At the middle school level, I would eat my lunch in the classroom. And I said, if anybody wants to come in and do work or whatever, or hang out, you can. And they would. And it was really fascinating to me over recess. Miss, can I come in? Because you'd hear their conversations, right? I'm right there. Right. So you're learning stuff about them and about it's like Real Housewives kind of thing.
I was going to say it's your own reality show, but it's productive because you want to get to know them.
It was amazing. And I'd say, I'm here. Yes, miss, we know you're here, but we want to talk about it. Okay, fine.
So you're not making, because I mean, obviously you need a break. So you're kind of like, you're not going to ask me for help, but feel free to sit near me and also eat your lunch.
Yeah, or just sit in the classroom. We'd play music. I'd play music, and it was just great. And that's another way we've just built. I just loved it. It was so great. I love being in the classroom.
You were just I want to hang on to, I'm still really thinking about this idea of when we say getting to know our students, it can mean so many things. It can mean finding out what their favorite TV show is. It can mean finding out if they have siblings. It can mean just hearing them talk and being like, oh my God, I'm really noticing that she's the one in the group that keeps making everyone laugh. Do you know what I mean? It can be any of those things. You can learn through observation. And I always say this about compliments. You remember how earlier you were it's really superficial to just be like, oh, I noticed you're engaged. Yeah. If I said to you, you look really great today, that'd be fine.
Well, thank you.
Right. But if I was like, I love your hair, the colors in it are really making your eyes pop. It's that's for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so to make sure you're saying something like that to a student for them to be like, wow, she really sees me.
Yeah.
It's not just lip service. And because she really sees me, I feel like I actually have value here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And maybe they'll start seeing other people as well. Maybe it continues, the journey and everything that's happening. And when they're upset and so-and-so is not going to the dance because of so-and-so. And that all comes into play, right? When they come in that classroom, whatever grade level it is, what's happening on the outside, what's happening at recess, that comes in. And that's part of the journey that we're taking with our students. And I still do that. I still do that even with my university students. Like, oh, something's off today. I feel something is, are you okay? And when we start, and then all of a sudden something happened that blah, 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 and they want me to know and whatever.
And that I think this is part of that conversation of you can't, like you said, we're teaching kids, not content.
Yeah.
We're teaching people. So you can't, if you want to be like, well, their lives and who they are have nothing to do with content, like you're going to be very disappointed to find out that a lesson just might not land.
Yeah.
Because if something's going on with us, it's going on with us, period.
We're emotional beings.
Yeah.
And math tends to be, as you very well know, an anxiety-provoking kind of thing. And it's the way it's taught sometimes. It's past experiences that people have. And by the time students get to even grade 4, or grade 5, grade 6, they've already solidified how they think of school, how they think of teachers, how they think of mathematics. So I'd like to be that person to kind of undo that a little bit if there's some negativity there, and just sort of sit with that, because the best classroom management strategies are not going to work if the kids do not trust who we are, if the students don't trust who we are, or even know who we are, right? It's about us taking the risk and sharing who we are as well. And that kind of thing.
What's a good, like, first thing for someone to share if we have someone listening who's like, I never tell my students anything about me. Like, I don't want them to know personal stuff about me.
I just think, what did you do on the week? What did everybody do on the weekend? Here's something I did on the weekend, or here's something, I'm trying to learn to cook, or I'm trying to learn to do this, or I'm trying to learn to do that. And I think photos of different things, if you have pets, I know that sounds superficial, but it connects a bit.
It humanizes you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like sometimes we don't humanize the students, and often the students don't humanize teachers. They're like, it's just this this gremlin trying to like force me to do fractions.
Can I tell you, I like clothing and I like just ensemble.
We both have full-size suitcases for a 3-day trip.
This is true. Manipulatives aside. And so my students would take notice of what I would wear. And the reason why I think I'm going to dress as best I can, like I do for anybody, because one time when I was teaching, the students noticed that I was dressed up better than usual because I had an interview or something. Oh, I have an appointment. And then another day I came in dressed up and thinking, oh, she must have another appointment. And it made me realize, you know what? I shouldn't be dressing for appointments. You're my most important appointment.
Oh,
so that's why
God.
I just tried. And I don't mean like, Gucci and whatever. I'm just saying just to look, whatever it means to look and dress for that individual, that would be what I would do for my students. So I was teaching grade 8 and they would say, Miss. Like one time I was, oh, Miss, like that color's too bright, Miss. Oh my gosh, like shut down the lights, man. Like what's going on? Miss, that's like a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10? This is a 4 out of 10? And I wrote 4 out of 10 on the board. And so the next day we'd have 4 out of 10. And I said, okay, this is horrible, but it worked. I said, what about this outfit? What do you think? Miss, that's a 6. Why is it a 6? We put that, and we did like, I taught decimals that way.
Okay.
So that we would so then one time I'm getting ready and I'm thinking, what am I going to wear? And I asked Tony, my husband, I said, you know what? I don't know what to wear. He goes, why do you wear blah, blah, blah? I said, I'm not wearing blah, blah, blah. That's a 3 out of 10. I'm not putting that on. According to my grade 8 student, that doesn't even. But it was an ongoing joke with us around that. It wasn't about making judgments about people's clothing, but it was a way to get to these kids.
What I'm hearing is
actually make it meaningful to them, because then all of a sudden we started having averages and it was fun.
Well, what I'm hearing is you did exactly what you've been talking about this entire podcast, which is you got to know them. You observed that they were interested in this thing. And you were like, it appears that you're really interested in what I'm wearing.
It doesn't matter what it was. Like if I was wearing a Michigan sweatshirt, that was a big deal to them.
Yeah. Like, you noticed what they were interested in.
Them.
And then you took, and also I'd like to say by you writing those numbers on the board, they now have ownership over that.
Yeah, it was
They
funny.
created that skill.
It was great.
Oh my God. Okay. This has been amazing. I don't know what we've been talking about for half an hour. It started with, but you know what? You're going to love how I'm about to land the plane. Okay?
On time.
Okay, on time because what we are talking about now is flight adjacent. Because the other thing Cathy has taught me is about packing. Okay. She is the one who last year made me feel okay about bringing a full-size
Don't
suitcase.
shame people because they have large suitcases. Like, what difference does it make? You bring on, you be you. You bring on your little sad knapsack on the plane. We're fine with that. I'm going to pack, and even if my suitcase is empty, I'm going to live large, fill it up, do what I need to do because I want choice. I want choice. I don't care if choice is about sweatshirts, if it's about jeans, if it's about dresses, if it's about pants. I don't care. I want choice. That is it. I make no excuses. No excuses.
And how I'm going to tie this together right now is in all of the research around trauma-informed education, it has been shown that one of the key things that will help an anxious student or a student that is exhibiting off-task behavior because their needs aren't being met is to give them choice. Choice of any kind, exactly like she just said. It could be the sweatshirts. It could be do you want to write with pencil or pen? Do you want to work in a group or individually? Do you want to do it on the whiteboard or do you want to do it on a piece of paper? Do you want to work at your seat or on the carpet? That alone, do you want to do this question or that question? I've given you 10 questions. Pick 2 that you want to do. When you do that, a student is always more likely to do the task if there is any element of choice.
Yes. And we're helping them navigate the unknown because we're helping them make decisions on their own about different things. So that is really critical.
We just, keep going, but we are landing. We are landing the plane.
Just like packing that suitcase, baby.
Just like packing that suitcase. Just like us having the choice in the very beginning. And you know what to say? I would have loved if on a plane, this is what bothers me when there's all these difficulties, if they would give us choice, if they would say something like, you know what, you guys can get on the plane or off the plane while you wait. I understand logistically they can't do that sometimes.
Do you want a $10,000 voucher for a hotel or not?
Or do you want water? Do you want, instead of being like, here's water, do you want a beverage? Pick. Do you want a snack? Like, do you want this or that? Like, would you prefer to, you guys can get up and move around. Instead, it's just sit still, be quiet, don't ask questions. You have no choice. You have no agency.
Yeah, but there could be laws, like aviation laws that we don't know about that could kibosh everything.
If any pilots are listening to this podcast, please text us. We'd love to hear from you. If you are a pilot, maybe you're a teacher with a pilot spouse or friend, feel free to let us know what you think of our analogy. Did we land the plane? We can't wait to hear from you, Cathy. This was so much fun.
This was great.
Did you have fun?
I did.
Okay, wait. Let me ask you the question I ask every podcast guest. Okay, before we land. Okay, we're on the tarmac. Okay, we're going to the gate. Question number 1. What would you say if somebody said to you, you know what, I love everything you're saying, but I'm just never going to get it. It doesn't matter if I have choice. It doesn't matter if I'm just not a math person.
I think it's about where you are, look at who you are and what you've done. I think it's about highlighting past successes of what somebody has done and going into the past and saying, what do you mean by that? And I think also, and it's about landing the plane for what we said, what do you mean by a math person? What is a math person? Because if their understanding is a math person, that they have an applied science, like a math degree of some sort, or they're a physicist, well, in that category that you've created for yourself, that you are probably not that kind of math person. But what do you understand? Like, what are the other examples of what a math person can be?
I love it. And finally, if there's one thing, only one thing you could change about the way math is taught in schools, what would it be?
Humanity. Make it more human, more emotionally connected to the person.
What perfect timing. I think a session is about to come in here right now.
So maybe we should
just be the session. Should we just set up a PowerPoint?
Yeah, quick, right now.
Safety demonstration?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, you're the best. Love you, bye. Oh my God, I just love her so much. And honestly, I would have continued the convo, but the next session's speaker walked into the room to set up for his session. And while this is unrelated, I would like to add that this man told me he was a school principal. And why does that matter to you? Well, because he asked me what I was doing in the room and I was like, blah, blah. I was just recording a podcast about math anxiety. And then he told me at this math education conference that we were both at that he had never heard of math anxiety, which I don't know, I found kind of concerning as a principal. I was like, how is this possible? And like, obviously, no shade to him. Obviously, it's never too late to learn something new. And I hope he went home and looked into it. But it does show us how much work there is to be done around understanding the complicated relationship students have with math. So at least we're all out here doing the work. I hope you guys loved this impromptu conversation with Cathy as much as I did. Please do text us and tell us if we landed the plane and what your biggest takeaway was. We want to hear from you. I hope you guys are having the best summer. Thank you all for making math therapy a part of your poolside PD, and I'll see you next week. We haven't discussed why we think that this entire story is a metaphor for teaching.
Yeah.
I have to take these bracelets off because David will kill me. Hold the mic and you can keep talking. Okay, so I want to know.
And how would he kill you? That would be another podcast.
He got really mad last time I did this because they're too jingly.
Well, mine's jingly. Is mine too jingly?
No, you just have one. Like, see how I have a million?
Okay.
Okay, we're back.